beautiful weather. Still like it. Not like in Ireland at all. Well, Tom and I are of the same order.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, from the morning, probably. And I don't know if you're on camera here, but
somebody decided to do something.
It's Killimordaly.
The same here, would have happened that it would be kind of a shed that they usually lay up and the cars between the people have a use with good life from having a private family.
You didn't do the
Northern Line.
No, I know of Composter.
Northern Line.
I would be thinking something.
But we were not.
I don't think I like this, but quite uncomfortable with that.
Well done.
Yeah, David, come out, David.
Are you the saleswoman?
I am.
I'll probably send them on then.
I expect
That's
I
what
will.
I have to do.
how are you?
I'm fine. And you?
Well, thank you. You're looking well. I'm bringing a few of my own as well. I just leave them here.
Oh, Father, how are you?
Good evening and welcome. Yourself. You're not putting me on video, are you?
Welcome.
I'm trying to get out of the way.
How do you mean, welcome?
Thanks very much.
Are you stationed here?
No, I'm not stationed here. I'm up in Abbey Denary, yeah.
Come back to Abbey.
But I'm helping out here.
That was the first place that we filmed you.
That's right. Yeah, Kieran, Jordan and myself are helping Father Tom to get this off the ground,
Oh, yeah.
you know, part of our team, you know, so.
Oh, you were an old hand at the church.
Oh, yeah. You know, got the old hand, you know, but anyway, there we are.
There's a holiday going on that book.
Yeah, well, I rang in, but I don't know.
Very much. Yeah. No, we live in Killigrew. Yes, we live in Killigrew.
Yeah, I tell it something to do.
So it's fun. We have family.
You're looking beautiful.
Yeah, you come on us too fast.
Pardon?
You come on us too fast. We don't make up or anything on.
I know.
One trio. Summary is and chief.
Thank you. Tom Coach. Are you with me?
And wish them well in the All-Ireland Snake Note finals, which are coming up in Clonmel around the end of August. Best luck, lads. Thanks very much. So Mary Connaughton is here now. She'll have half recited. That won't take very long, about 5 minutes or so. And the book launch will be immediately after that. So if you have a little bit more patience for another few minutes, we'll be on to the book launch.
So after winning the money. Exactly. Have you not spent? I have, definitely got them. Every penny? Oh, yeah. Keep any for me, sir? Well, maybe a little bit went your way, you never know. All right. We spread it around as good as we could anyway. But no. That's it. Good man, well, thanks. Soon enough she's coming to the store.
This is a very traditional instrument especially here for the book launch. So we want to give her the one more time. Thank you very much. have probably some more traditional music later on in the night now, but we're coming to the main event, so the book launch. So I call on Kieran Jordan now, he'll take over here and he'll introduce all the rest of the items in the book launch. Thank you very much.
For the launch of Father Tom's book on the ancient history of Turoe and Athenry. I'd like to welcome everybody that has come, and I know some of you have come quite a distance, but I don't think anybody has surpassed Father Tom himself, who flew in from Malaysia yesterday for this occasion. So we'd like to give a special welcome to him. And while he was solely responsible for the writing of the book, I was responsible for kind of drawing it all together and gathering his writings. And there was a whole host of people who are behind the organisation of this night. And before we go any further, I would just like to thank all the people that were involved in the organisation of the event tonight. I won't mention them by name, but I'll just give you an example of some of the various jobs that people did. There was books we brought up from Cork, which wasn't an easy task. There were radio interviews organised, as some of you will know. There was posters that have gone up all over the place in Athenry and Loughrea. There was signposts that went up on the roads. There was a pair of carpenters here on Friday doing some, putting up the stands for the exhibitions. So if any of you have a little kitchen to put in or something like that, you can contact me afterwards and we'll get good carpenters for you. So I'd just like to thank everybody, and especially in the thanks to the Corcorans, who are about the only people I'll name. The Corcorans, Turoe Pet Farm, Mary and Paddy, who have given us the facilities here tonight, which are absolutely wonderful and ideally suited for the occasion, because we have plenty of space for the talks and for the exhibition, and people can wander around outside, and then, as we have seen, there's music and all of that. So thanks very much to them. And also, when we finish up the few talks tonight, there's refreshments, and that's also thanks to Paddy and Mary. With the talks for the launch of the book, I've tried to be a bit different, and we're not going to talk about the book. You can all, and I know some of you have bought the book, but you can buy the book and read it if you want to find out what's in it. What we're trying to do is to talk on topics that are related to the book, and topics that are of interest maybe to local people. So I have a lineup of speakers who will give short presentations on topics that are related to the book. And I'll just introduce them by name. First of all, we have Tom Varley, who will speak on landscapes and routeways. William Henry with the Galway Archaeological and Historical Society. Hugh Weir from the Clare Archaeological and Historical Society. Father Tom will say a few words about the background to the book. John Quinn worked with RTE in education, and he'll speak for a few minutes on local history and education. And Heneghan from Teagasc in Athenry will speak on rural agritourism, and I'll explain the relationship of that to the book at a later stage. The launch of this book is the culmination of 40 years' work on behalf of Father Tom, and this part of the book, which is on sale, is just the evidence that he has found for Celtic royal centres of power around Turoe and Athenry, and for a unique system of linear embankments that are around the area. He also, in addition to the evidence that's presented in this book, there is a whole series of the who, the what, the why, and the how of how the story got lost, and all the people that are involved in it, and why we'd never heard about this story before. And that's a separate piece of work, which is included in this. It's included in this manuscript, and this will be the follow-up for any of you who are interested. So it's a much bigger story than is presented in the book. The book, as I say, just contains the evidence. The rest is contained in the follow-up book that will come at a later stage. So without anything further from me at the moment, I'll introduce you to Tom Varley, who will speak on landscape and routeways for a few minutes.
Thanks, Kieran. It's a deep honour and privilege. Okay, this is how I hold the microphone. Can everybody hear me? It's a great honour for me to be here tonight. I came here about 3 years ago with a friend from America. We had walked from Galway Bay through Athenry. We stopped in Kiltullagh. We went into the pub there that night, had a pint. A man climbed up on the roof. It seemed to be part of living in Kiltullagh, was to do strange and unusual things late at night. Kieran told me earlier I have to talk for just about 10 minutes. This watch was given to me by my mother 3 years ago. We buried her in the new cemetery in Galway. I was born in Galway City 47 years ago. My mother came from Clare. My father came from north of the Corcoran in County Galway. I was born in the city. I lived there until I was 12. And when I was 12, I was sent out to help a neighbour of my father's. Not a blood relation, but his name was also Varley. The year beforehand, his father, mother and sister had died. His father was called Tom Varley. My father was called Tom Varley, and I'm Tom Varley. In one of these fields, at the back of this man's house, he drilled holes in rocks. He hammered sledges. He broke those rocks to make what he called fields. Among those rocks were white sediments. We looked at these as we drank our milk, and we both puzzled how the sea had come to Clonbur. The sea came to Clonbur as it came to Turoe and to Athenry, and left sea lilies in the stone walls that scientists tell us are 320 million years old. They're your common everyday stone walls, latticed around, uphill, updale, downdale, uphill. Whatever way you see, whatever it is you look out upon, that is the age of the sea that surrounds us. 3 years ago, with my friend from America, from Chicago, from that great big city on those lakes, we went walking from Galway Bay, from the Atlantic Ocean. Our destination was the Irish Sea. We had a pint in Kiltullagh. 3 years later, I come back because of the most unusual story that I encountered on this journey across the island of Ireland. It was a story of families like my own that have lived in a place, that have exchanged names, that have exchanged stories. What I found on this journey was that stories have the most unusual way of coming out. Not the official stories about cap reform or about the next World War, but about what happened on the sea fields around Turoe and Athenry. What puzzled me for a long time was that this watch that was given to me divides time in the same way that we divide all our pasts into the Ice Age, the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. When in fact all we are is the living breath, living on this earth. And tonight, the daughter of the earth, called the moon, is shining really bright on this incredible assembly here in Turoe. That stone that shines out there is not native to the marine floor. It has come maybe 10,000 years ago, maybe less, depending on which story you believe, to this place. It is a granite story. We still do not know how to hear its story. It is a representation from a people who use this form of special, unique material to tell of their place in their time. Some of the story has been forgotten. We have allowed history to be written and to be told by people that we don't seem to hear. The story that is told is not for what people have been telling each other in this area. Why it is a great honour for me to be here tonight is that, believe it or not, I am looking at a form of revolution. A native son from this place was convinced that there was a unique story to be told. He went around here in the last 40 years with a bottle of milk in the back of a bicycle. He went into all the fields where he was treated as a neighbour and as a friend. I've been in those same fields and I've met some of those same people. He was the mad priest from Athenry, from Kiltullagh, could you believe? I felt such a privilege to feel that I was also the madman from Galway, because the world has become empty of people who have visions. And the world we are describing as landscape and routeways are now journeys circumnavigated by the National Development Plan, are things outside ourselves that have no more soul than the rubbish dump they expect to put all our problems into. The route to the heart is what you feel. And if we do not feel our stories, and if we do not feel free, by which these stories are worthy of expression, beyond the bounds of what people trust to be reality, beyond the bounds of what people say this is truth or fiction, then we lose all the windows into those past ages. Once I heard that fossils were the experiments that God wasn't happy with, and so he buried them. Such an immense amount of time has flown through our own veins to be here at this very moment. I think one of the most important things for us to recognize here tonight is that we are the revolutionaries. It is community that has assembled here, perhaps as communities have assembled here for thousands of years, to celebrate a Chower, a place with a magnificent view to the sandstone ridges of the Sliabhachtaí or the granite homeland of the Turoe stone itself out west. 10,000 years ago, we are told the ice flowed this way up to a mile high. We are swimming through landscape. We are a dance in this moment of time, whether we want to know about it or not. And for me, every person that makes an effort, that makes a supreme effort to tell their truth, and is supported like ye have supported this person as a community, gives me the highest honour to be part of that support. And before this watch tells me a time that doesn't matter anymore, I will say I'm grateful to be here, and I wish the book and its launch and this area every success in the future. Thank you very much.